good night, everyone. Done tonight. God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma J. Spirit Divine. We give you a word on tonight. And we still in the book of Elijah. Elijah about to be taken up. He gonna drop his spirit on Elijah. Second King, um, chapter 2, 1 through 17. So when the Lord was about to take Elijah up to heaven in the whirlwind, Elijah and Elijah was on their way to Galilee. Now it came to pass when the Lord is getting ready to take Elijah up, heaven, his mission is complete. Now he will be lifted up from the earth. Now, besides Jesus, he the only one, gonna skip that and just go straight on up to heaven. So Elijah had said to Elijah, stay here. The Lord has sent me to Bethlehem. But Elijah said, as surely as the Lord live, and I live, as I live, I will not leave you. So they had went on down. Now this sounds something like Ruth and Naomi. She telling Ruth to go, and Ruth said, I'm not leaving you. Now Elijah, you remember God had given him some help, so Elijah been working under him, so Elijah was just like a mentor to him, so that's why, he clinging to him. Elijah said, I'm about to go out, I'm about to go up in a little bit, you need to go ahead on, we work good together, but my time is up. Elijah said, long as you live, long as the Lord live, and I live, I'm not leaving you. He hadn't got, familiar with Elijah, working under Elijah. So assured of this divine protection, Elijah had saw it was close to his time. Pass on his way to Elijah. Now he gonna pass on to Elijah. That's just like Joshua with Moses. God know it was awesome time for Moses. So he put Joshua, under Moses. So when it was time, he already ready to know what to do. And so that's the same thing he doing with life. He was a mentor to Elijah, and so he was working closely with him and working with him and knowing he was using power, and all that, so he gonna pick up the workload once Elijah gone, so at one of the schools of prophet instead of continue on with Elijah and chose to not leave Elijah's side. Because he saw the power Elijah was using. He gonna cling to him. I'm not gonna let you go. Because he know the value that Elijah holds. Because he had that little stick, like Moses had, using power, so he know the value that Elijah have. So when Elijah leave, he want to ask for something. See, when somebody know you value, they're going to cling to you. They're going to cling to you. They don't want to let you go. And that's what he done. He know Elijah value, so he close to God and what Elijah carried. So the company of the prophet at Bethel came out of Elijah and asked, do you know that the Lord is going to take your master from you today? Yes, I know, Elijah replied. And so this is a school, a prophet school. So one of them came out of the school and said, your master about to be taken out? They probably thought he didn't know. But I don't know why when Elijah is so close to him, and he was getting offended. He was like, yeah, I know, I know, you know. And so one of the prophets from the school approached Elijah, and Elijah will be going up. He said, yes, I told him quietly. So when he was telling him, Elijah gonna be going up, the first thing he told him, just be quiet. I just need you to be quiet. You're talking too loud. Because see, when the Lord is about to come around, he needs to be quiet. You know, when Jesus was performing miracles and all that, you know, he used to tell them to be quiet. And he used to have some of them going out the room. You know, when he's saying when God is coming around, you need to be quiet. You know, he was talking too loud. You know, the first thing he said, you know, quiet when the Lord is coming. You know, so then Elijah had said to him, stay here, Elijah, the Lord has sent me to Jericho. And he replied, surely as the Lord live, and as you live, I will not leave you. So they had went to Jericho. Elijah tried everything he can to get rid of Elijah. You know, he's not going nowhere. You know, he said, long as you live, long as I live, I'm following you. I'm going wherever you go, I'm going. You know, so Elijah continued on following Elijah. He refused to stay. You know, so the company of the prophet at Jericho had went up to Elijah and asked him, do you know that your Lord is going to be taken up? You know, so here they come again. Now, this the second time. You know, Elijah told him I already knew the first time. You know, so they're asking him a question again. You know, asking the question again. Do you know the Lord is going to take your master from you today? Yes, I know, he replied. And be quiet. So he constantly telling him to be quiet. He told him the first time. This is the second time they asked him. Now Elijah tell Elijah to stay here. You know, he going to Jordan. But Elijah said no, as not leaving you. So he determined not to leave him. You know, he followed Elijah. You know, he worked closer with Elijah. You know, Elijah did with the drought and everything else. You know, so Elijah was getting training. So he know the value and what Elijah carried. You know, Elijah was using that stick, you know, doing power, you know, helping the widows with the drought and all that. You know, Elijah saw all the power that he was using. You know, he like, I'm not leaving you. You know, Elijah, no, I want something from you. You about to go? I want something from you. You know, so he clinging to us. So then Elijah had said to him, stay here. The Lord has sent me to the Jordan. And I replied, as certain as I live. You know, and two of them walk together. Elijah keep on trying to get rid of them. You know, Elijah cling to his master as though he could keep him back. Now 50 men from the company of the school, you know, went and stood at the distance facing, you know, the place where Elijah had stopped at the Jordan. So he gone to the Jordan. You know, it's gonna be anytime he's gonna scoop Elijah up. So that's why Elijah followed him everywhere he go. You know, I want to see my master get picked up. You know, he wants to see. And then you got 50, you know, students from the school. They went across the Jordan way where they can see, because everybody wants to see. I want to see when God picked him up. You know, they wants to see. They want to be witness. So 50 men was only a portion of the school of Jericho. You know, so they was behind the town from where they would command a view of the whole thing. See, they wanted to get a good view. You know, for to see everything. They want to be a witness. You know, because this history, you know, command the view of the whole, you know, so they on the coast of the river and the opposite bank for many miles. There was many miles away, but they still were able to see Elijah and Elijah. You know, so they across Elijah that would be taken up. You know, so now Elijah had took his cord and wrapped it up and struck the water with it. You know, so the water divided to the right and to the left, and the two of them crossed over dry ground. And see, Elijah still using power. You know, he said, I'm out of wild, you know, I'm about to be taken up. You know, and so they had all the water by the river, you know, and so they need to cross over. You know, he took the stick and he divided the water up so it could be dry, so they can walk on dry ground. So Elijah coat was a symbol of authority. That little stick he got, a symbol of authority as a prophet. So then Elijah did the same thing Moses did. You remember that Red Sea? God told him hit that water and make it close up the sea because they was running from, they're running from Pharaoh. And they had all that water, the Red Sea. So he had to close it up, and make it to dry ground. And just the same thing Elijah did. So when they had crossed, Elijah said to Elijah, tell me what can I do for you before I am taken up. Now let the inheritance a double portion of your spirit. Now, Elijah said, I'm about to get close to be taken up. Elijah said, tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Now, Elijah, you'll think he'll ask for money. He ain't ask for no money. Because what he going to ask for is better than money. So Elijah had said, he said, let me inheritance, I want your inheritance, a double portion of your spirit. So now you see why he was clinging to Elijah. He refused to stay back because any moment God was going to take him out. See, God ain't said no time. And Elijah was still working. Dividing the Red Sea, the river up and everything. He's still working. He didn't know what time. He know it was close. Now, he know in a matter of time, God was going to take him up. And see, Elijah not crazy now. Elijah was cleaning. He was cleaning to Elijah. He was cleaning to him. Now, he already know what he want. He ain't hesitate. When Elijah said, what you want? What you want? He said it quickly. He ain't waste no time because that's the reason why he was fighting Elijah, because he knew he wanted to ask him for this. So when he asked for a double portion of his spirit, meaning he asked to be Elijah running his ministry and everything else Elijah was doing. Because see, when he taking Elijah's spot, you're not getting the portion just to be getting it. You got to be doing everything Elijah was doing. So you have asked a difficult thing. But Elijah said, but yet, if you see me, and when I am taken up, it will be yours. So Elijah said, when I'm taken up, it will be yours. He said this is a difficult thing, but it will be yours. He didn't ask for no money. He asked for his inheritance and a part of his double portion of spirit. Because with all Elijah's tools, Elijah was able to do the supernatural. And see, Elijah know he couldn't do it. He needs the tools to do it. That's why he said, give me your tools. Give me your spirit. Give me everything. Everything. Give me that stick you using. Give me everything. Everything dropped down when Elijah went up. So it would be a hard thing, for Elijah, but to guarantee this double portion, since blessing and with his spirit, eventually Elijah intended to reward Elijah. And now he was going to reward him anyway. Because he can't take all this stuff with him. He could take his spirit and the gift with him, because God was going to take that anyway. But the blessing and everything else, he was going to give to Elijah anyway. Because he can't take it out with him. So Elijah continued on being faithful, committed to him with this blessing. So as they were walking along, talking, it could be from a blink of an eye. See, they're walking and they're talking. Now suddenly, a carrier of fire, horses of fire appear and separate the two of them. And Elijah had went up in heaven in a whirlwind. And time to, they separate them. I guess Elijah fell down or whatever. When he got up and looked, Elijah gone. The master had vanished right before his eyes. Right before his eyes. Because God is a spirit. See, he wasn't going to see anyway. God knocked him out the way. Wait, you can't see everything now. I'm going to knock you out the way. Separate you, you get right there. And he scooped Elijah out. Time he got up, raised up, he gone. So Elijah was taken up to heaven without dying. That's a blessing. without getting hurt, without getting stabbed, shot. It's a blessing with reward health or dying and go straight up. Now he is the second person to mention, that went up from heaven. Now Elijah had saw this and he cried out, my father, the carry inheritance in Israel. And Elijah had saw him no more. And then he took hold of his garment and tore it in two. Now, when Elijah went up, he dropped everything down, just like he said. The stick, and his double portion, it fell on Elijah. That's why God had to separate them, because if not, it was going to still fall on Elijah. So he had to separate them for his portion, can fall on Elijah, And so Elijah was taken up, taken up to heaven without dying and without him seeing. God took him from a blanket of eye, So Elijah had saw this and cried out. He cried out, but Elijah did what he said. He left the devil portion of his spirit and his little magic stick. Now Elijah mourned for the deportation of one of Israel's great spiritual war. So Elijah picked up Elijah's stick, that had fallen from him, went back and stood on the bank of Jordan. Now, he had to test it out. He just saw Elijah divide the river. So, he got to test it out. He wants to test it out. So Elijah commissioned as a prophet of God. There are records to demonstrate Elijah new power, in authority. Now, as Israel chief prophet, under God, ultimate power and authority, Elijah also have a testimony. Now, he got a testimony. He done worked with Elijah for a good little while. Now, he get turned up, get scooped up to heaven, and then he dropped a double portion on Elijah. He got his magic stick. He got authority. He got the power. He got everything that Elijah had. He have a testimony to tell. And so he took the stick, that he had fallen from Elijah and struck the water with it. And where now is the Lord, the God of Elijah? He asked. When he struck the water, it divided, to the right and to the left. And as he crossed, because he had to divide it again, so to cross back over. They went this way. So now he coming back this way. So he had to use the stick just like Elijah did. The cross to divide the water on dry ground, for he crossed back over. It's a miracle he perceived to remind the prophet about Moses, in the Red Sea crossing the Jordan River. Now, both of these miracles give clear affirmation that God was doing mighty work through both of them. Now, the company of the prophet from Jericho, now who were watching, they was watching now. Now, it said the spirit of Elijah is resting on Elijah. So they saw that. So they know the spirit that was on Elijah. They know it's resting on Elijah. Because they're over there. They was watching. And they had went to meet him and bowed down to the ground. Now, see, they giving him respect. They know Elijah. He know they got his portion of spirit. He got that stick. So when they did go over there, they bowed down to show respect, giving him authority, to give him respect. The same what they did Elijah. Now, so Elijah's gift was his birthright. Now, God gave him that as birthright. That he was the heir to it. So he couldn't not give it to him if he won't. Because whatever gift you have, you go with you. But he decided, that's why he said, you asked me a difficult thing. And so, God heard, so God God had to approve it, order to drop it down on him. And so we will observe the prophet in Jericho recognize that Elijah as having Elijah's spirit, Elijah putting this spirit to use. He ain't wasting no time to put this spirit to use. As he make water safe to drink at Jericho less helpful. Now look, they say we your servant. Now we have 50. Remember, it was 50 of them. 50 of the students. They're standing up there watching. And let them go. And look for your master. They see he was crying, mourning. So let us go. Let us go and look for your master. He got to be around here somewhere. But see, Elijah already know he was going up. He was taken up. So Elijah know where he going and where he at. But he still was sad that his master was gone. For the Lord had picked him up and set him down on some mountain in some valley. So Elijah had replied, so he told them not to go. Because he already know. He already know where they're at. He know where Elijah went up to heaven. So he didn't need them to go and try to do a search. So Elijah know. Elijah had left because he dropped his spirit. Now, he didn't ask Elijah for money. He asked for his spirit of his mentor until he watched his mentor vanish, in a heavenly ransom. So he told them, don't go and look for him. Because he already know. But they're going to do it anyway. But they persisted until he was too embarrassed to refuse. So he gave in, So he had said, send them. And they went, 50 men, they went trying to search. It took them 3 days to search and try to find Elijah. When Elijah already told him, I know where he at. I saw him went up. So Elijah know where Elijah was at. But he he gave in. And he let them search. They did not find him. He know they wasn't going to find him. Which took them 3 days. 50 men looking for Elijah. And it took them 3 days. Elijah told him, don't go look for him. He know where he went at. Elijah just was crying because that was his mentor. He was working, working under him for so long. So when they returned, Elijah, who was standing in Jericho, he said to them, didn't I tell you not to go? They coming back and telling they ain't find him. He already knew they wasn't going to find him. Elijah waited until they come back. Now, he knew they wasn't going to find him. He knew they wasn't going to find him. Now, we see Elijah made history. Elijah made history. And he have a testimony. Also Elijah made history by taking up. So we see Elijah, he was taken up to heaven. And we see Elijah had received Elijah's spirit and perceived Elijah do this as power. Elijah had to watch his master vanish right before his eyes. Right before his eyes. Now we see that gifts and spirit can transfer. His spirit had transferred to Elijah. His stick, the power, everything was left to him. And he said he had this power since birth. A lot of us, as a child, as a star seed, you have gifts. I know I had mine since I was a little girl. Doing my putting my testimony together. I realized I had gifts, since I was a child. I used to see stuff. Ask my sister, you see that? She like, no. So Elijah said he had it since birth. And so he thought Elijah had something for money. He said, whatever you want. And real, he think he was going to ask for money, but he ain't asked for no money. You know, he asked for his spirit because he know Elijah had power. You know, all power go to God, but God allowed him to perform some power in his name. You know, and so Elijah was working under him. You know, he saw what Elijah was doing. You know, so he was. That's why he didn't want to leave. I'm not leaving you. I'm gonna cling to you, because he know Elijah was valuable. You know, he know Elijah was valuable. He know Elijah had something that was more valuable than money. You know, so he clinged to Elijah, and he didn't want to let Elijah go. You know, until it was that time, Elijah said, whatever you want. You know, he didn't waste no time. He said it quickly. I want a double portion of your spirit. Elijah already was gonna get a blessing, because he can't go up there with the blessing, you know, but he already gonna give, but so he ain't even ask for no money. You know, but Elijah, you know, left the blessing with him, left that magic stick with him, and left the double portion of his spirit. You know, so they said that was the second one, you know, that went up into heaven. You know, it was a blessing that he didn't die and get hurt and all this kind of stuff. It's a blessing when you can just go up. You know, we don't know why, you know, God decided to let him go up, you know. But you know, Elijah had wanted to run once before. I guess God wanted to take him up since he had difficult time with his enemy. You know, so that's all I have for you tonight. Y'all have a blessed, safe night, and I'll see y'all in the next video.